October 7th, basically one day I went up to, some guy looked at me. I was wearing a kufiya. He was walking into this place
And I
yellow.
don't think you're going to win this. We are
Yeah.
too powerful now, and now the entire world knows about Palestine. Like,
Zay Beirut, Zay Surya, yani.
guys, welcome back to Kazouza Hamra. We are sitting down today with Abu Rass, the founder of PNN, Palestinian News Network. So thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. I think your voice is so important, so I look forward to this conversation. How are you?
Thank you, Nora. I'm great. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to it.
So let's jump in to get to know a little bit about who you are, your background, where you're from, and then we'll take it from there.
So my name's Abu Rass, we could call it. I'm born and raised in Washington, DC. My dad is Palestinian, my mom is German. So uh, 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 I'm from the Palestinian diaspora mix, but yeah, I mean, I just grew up, a standard American upbringing, you could say. You were mentioning, you came over from Syria when you were young,
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
had more of a. I just grew up, and I grew up in DC, which is very multicultural. I went to DC public schools, which is majority black. So I was always, I basically, I always, people just looked at me as white. They didn't really they knew German, Palestinian, but it didn't really register. So I didn't
Right,
really
right.
have to deal with, and I grew up with a lot of Jewish people. But again, it's more when you start getting towards, middle school, you start becoming more aware of
Who you are and your
who you are and like how, yeah, maybe your Palestinianness doesn't really clash with the white Americanness and, you need to work it all out. But yeah, I mean, nothing, I went, just
well,
the standard.
did your parents meet here, or they meet back home, and then they came, like, you were born here in the U.S.?
Yeah. So they met in DC, but then they both happened. My mom was a German student from Germany at Georgetown. My dad came as a kid, but
Hmm.
they met at Georgetown. But then they actually were overseas
Oh,
for
wow.
about 7 years. Then they were in California. Then they moved back right before I was born. So they met in DC and then ended up back in DC. And then since then we've been
That's so
basically.
cool. Now, have you been back to Palestine or Germany at all, or
Yeah, I
just
used to
DC?
every summer growing up. I basically spend the summer in Germany, and then
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
yeah, and we'd actually go to Syria growing up in Marra near the. It's like because my uncle had a house there, so the first place I went was
Yeah, yeah.
Syria, in the '90s. Then we started going to Lebanon. So I actually went to Palestine for the first time when I was 19. Then I've been 6 times since, but then they didn't let me in, so now maybe. But yeah, I've been to Palestine. But yeah,
Wow.
I grew up going actually more to Syria and Lebanon.
Oh, Michelle, you actually, in a weird way, you kind of look more Syrian than you do Palestinian.
Yeah, no, I could see that. It's funny. I was
Palestinian.
raised by my dad. Always said we're actually Syrian. He said, before the
Oh,
Sykes-Picot. So he said, before that, Lebanon, Palestine were all considered
Balad
greater Syria.
yeah, Balad
But
al-Sham.
at the time, so
Mhm.
I was always raised on kind of that sense of. I mean, obviously, proud
Right.
Palestinian. He
Yeah, yeah,
would
no, it
always
makes sense. Because they were
he
all
would
like
always
they were all districts within that area, and then eventually
exactly.
they start branching off when the whole concept of, like, being a country became a thing. So now take us back to middle school. You start to realize, hey, I'm Palestinian. You're kind of realizing you're not like everyone else. What is that like for you?
Well, I was actually, I have to say, I can't even remember. For example, actually, the my sixth grade class was actually adopted by the Embassy of Israel. So,
Interesting.
and
Okay.
that was ironically the year the Second Intifada started. So I remember the first day we were supposed to go to that embassy, and basically we're in DC, so they have these programs, embassies adopt classes. I don't know. So, but basically the first day I remember was the day after Sharon went to the Al-Aqsa, the Temple Mount, whatever. And that's what kicked off the Second Intifada. So literally that morning, I remember
Mhm.
I used to always see the newspaper. It was like the first day of violence from El Quds and stuff. So that always stuck in my head. But I know by the time it was seventh grade, like I had good Jewish friends and I still
Yeah,
do
yeah,
to this
yeah.
day. But I wasn't going to a lot of their bar mitzvahs because, and this will probably get clipped like I'm some man. No, I'm more Jewish than Jewish people. But basically for that,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
I can't be around this pro-Israel environment where
Yeah, yeah.
nobody's. I'm just, I did go to a couple, not that but it's like and from then people say, oh, you're anti-Semitic and this and that. But again, not a huge thing because we're in again, a multicultural
Right.
environment. It's kind of but yeah, so from then I but yeah, and I've always been like even in '06 on Facebook, I made a group. I don't know if we could cuss F Israel. This is the beginning of social media era. And so it's not that I wasn't
So
aware, it's more so
you were outspoken, and you started realizing that your
yeah,
side was represented.
yeah, it's like it was yeah, so it wasn't like it was my point is you grow up, you're like, "Oh, I'm American, I'm Palestinian." As you get older, you start kind
Yeah,
of realizing where these things clash. But yeah, so I've always been then I had worked more of the corporate world for a bit, so then I was obviously a bit more toned down with my
right.
outspokenness, but I know I've always been active and all that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Well, growing up, like, I always feel like I don't know if it's like this for you. I mean, I'm sure it's probably because most Arabs, I feel like I was raised always to believe, like, my dad used to always tell me, like, Jews are our cousins. We lived with them in Syria. He's like, I grew up with them in Syria. So the whole concept of Israel kind of separating Jews from, like, Arab Jews. So my dad was referring to Arab Jews, not European Jews. But he's like, we're raised with them. We went to school with them. He's like, they're our friends. So this whole concept of separating the Jews and the Muslims and creating like this clash from my dad was kind of like weird for him because he's like he didn't understand it, but he's like, I had friends growing up that were Jewish and they're Arab and they speak our language. We're all together as one. But I think now they call them Mizrahi Jews. I don't even know. I could be wrong. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, they created some
Like
new
they created like a
weird
word for that.
colonials. Yeah.
But the Semitic thing also. I mean, if you think about Semitism, like if you actually look at the definition, it's people who speak Arabic, Aramaic. Like we speak Arabic, so we cannot be against ourselves. Like we are Semitic people.
They're imposing this is a European concept, the word
Yeah,
anti-Semitism. So they're imposing here's what the Europeans do. They're anti-Semitic, the same way they're anti-black, like white people are anti, they're like effing Jews and this, that's
yeah,
how white people think, same way they talk about blacks, Arabs. But then they impose their anti-Semitism onto the Arabs. So it's like a magic trick. They're anti-Semitic, then they say the Arabs, like you say, but it doesn't make any sense if you think about it. But
yeah.
the Jewish Arab Muslim relations are completely separate
Yeah.
to the European ones, but they try to kind of convolute it all.
It's tough, and I often like struggle with this myself. Like, I don't know, like, what is the right solution now, right? I mean, you have Israel existing, and like, let's say after October 7th, I was shopping at a store in Garden State Plaza. It's like a mall here, and I went into the store and I see a lot of our desserts, a lot of our candies, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, what is the store? But then something hit me. I'm like, wait, something feels
If
off.
it fails off, that's so yeah,
And then I was like, "Oh, so where's this place from?" I asked one of the employees, and they wouldn't. They got very weird about it. Like, you have to go ask the owner. I was like, "Oh, cool. Like, where's the owner?" So I go speak to the owner. I'm like, "Oh, so where's this from?" He's like, it's Israeli." I said, "Oh, well, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I want to shop here now. I'll be straight up. Like, I was very kind to him. Like, I didn't say it like to like start an argument, but I was like, I'm gonna think twice now because of everything happening." And he's like, "Well, where are you from?" I said, "From Syria. My mom is half Turkish." And he's like, I'm half Turkish. I'm half Yemeni." Then I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." So we had this whole conversation. But I will tell you from that conversation that I had with this man, he was very polite and he spoke very highly about Palestinians. He's like, "I do business with Palestinians all the time." And he's like, "And I hate this new government," or I don't say this new government, but this government is creating all this conflict that is making us, against each other. He's like, "I'm not against Palestinians." So whether he said that to just, say that, I felt it was genuine, but I feel like there is like, but I guess what I'm trying to say is from that conversation, I feel like there's hope. And then
I
has this viewpoint and that Arabs are the worst people, even though I know like the government of Israel tries to portray us as we are like worth scumbags and we're like worth nothing.
I always tell people if you go to Palestine, they always say two state, one state. It's already a one state. It's kind one state solution.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like America. People don't see it. America, you don't have apartheid walls, but do people from the projects in your city come to the nice areas? No, they don't. And if they do, it's one shopping area. And if they get out of line, the police are getting called. Palestinians in the West Bank can actually go to Israel. Like I used to work at a skate camp one summer in Kalkilia, which is a city surrounded by a
Mhm.
wall. People there cross every single day. It's like Mexican laborers. So
Right, yeah, yeah.
my point is it's oppressive, but these people already live side by side. Every Palestinian city, my family's from Bethlehem. There's every hill you look at is settlements around it. So
Yeah.
on the ground, here people even it's funny because sometimes I say, yeah, I go to Palestine and, these like liberal types, like, oh no, we have to boycott Israel. It's like, which I respect the sentiment, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, it's a bit detached from the reality. I mean, anyway, that's another conversation. But
Well, I
no,
guess, like, I guess what would be it? Because we always say free Palestine, right? We want them to be free. We want them to have a rights. But what does that mean to you?
so it just means like that's what I mean. It's simple. I mean, at least as first steps. Obviously, it gets complicated, but it's a one state solution. But it's just unfair. It's just a matter of people being able to move freely in the land. Just right now they have to move under stress and oppression. So it's already a one state solution. Yeah, it's not like we're going to uproot this settlement or uproot. I mean, who knows how stuff plays out?
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
it'll naturally unfold. All the people who are there for this fake European
Yeah.
Disney Middle East experience, they can go. They'll fade away, kind of thing. And the ones who are, I always say, when you see like the Hasidic or like they kind of feel more natural in Palestine. It's when you see the European looking weird stuff.
The
That's when
Ashkenazi Jews.
yeah, and even just the stylistic thing. It's like my point is, it's
Yeah.
it'll take a life of its own, but there'll still be a Jewish, Christian, Muslim presence. But it just has to be at least a step one. No more laws separating and stopping people from
Giving them
going here and there.
citizenship where they can move and navigate freely. They can travel as they wish. They
I
can come
say,
back as they wish.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's not mine, but give everybody citizenship. And honestly,
Exactly.
Hamas, everybody would be happy with that because that's all Palestinians want: live freely, move around, and like I say, if people
Yeah,
who
yeah.
don't like it can go somewhere else.
What's your take on, and you don't have to answer this if you don't feel comfortable, but like the Arab leaders and how they've like their lack of involvement or just allowing things to happen like this.
I mean, you just have they're propped up by the US, so it's like
Yeah.
if your boss, it's like I always say with politicians, a politician isn't a free person giving their opinions. They were brought in by certain powers and they're going to be loyal to those powers. So it's the same thing, it's they're bought off, so it is what it is. It's cliche. We need changes in these governments, hopefully non without all the chaos and blood, but
Yeah. But I
nothing's
think
going to
also a
change
lot of
until
yeah, a lot of change is happening. I mean, definitely Gen Z is growing up and they're going to be entering political positions. And I feel like their viewpoint, like a lot of people are against Israel now, like against what the government is doing. And even Israelis themselves are either leaving or they're protesting for the rights for Palestinians, but it doesn't get covered.
yeah, no, it's shifting every day. That's how
Yeah.
it works. It shifts. And then one day it'll be a change and everybody will just adjust and act like it's normal. So, no, it's definitely the trends are going like against, they don't have a future. They're just killing their day to day, but they
Yeah.
don't really have a vision they're going towards.
Right. So Abu Rass, October 7th happens, right? Tell us about how PNN became to be. Like you said before, you started a Facebook group, and then I guess at some point you stopped that.
I mean, that one actually, yeah, this got like hacked back in '06. They actually hacked it, changed it to F Palestine and put an
Oh,
Israeli
wow.
flag. But yeah, this
I
was like
didn't
the
know that.
early day. We had like 200 members. It got a little spicy, but no, I mean, I've always been off and on, I'm doing my own thing, either going to protest. But October 7th, basically, like I said, I've always been outspoken, but
Right.
I tell people I've been doing this for 10, 15 years, but the only people it was my friends, Ben and his brother, Danny, they were the only ones liking for 10 years. So after October 7th, basically one day I went up to, some guy looked at me. I was wearing a kufiya. He was walking into this place, Yellow in BC, which was a new Palestinian owned, like high end, nice little bakery place. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I went up to him and then I went around the corner and there was this bald white guy who just looked very arrogant, talking to his Latino gardener, like giving him instructions. So I just said, "Hey, gringo, hey, Blanco, gringo." And like I say, I'm usually the type people be like, "Oh, Ramsey, you took it too far." So I'll always be like, "Okay, whatever." But after that, I noticed people laughing, like not that but I'm like, "Oh, now all of a sudden, I guess like," but I was just natural in my mode. I'm wearing my kufiya. If somebody looks at me funny, I'm gonna address it, not in like a fight way, but we're in nice areas, just like, sir, what are you looking at? Like kind of thing. So yeah, then we had gone to a oh yeah, then I went to this they had this big Israel march. I went there. But again, this is all just on my Instagram with like 300 followers. I've never had a viral video in life. Those so the first ones I said they didn't go viral, but it was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
people laughing. I'm like, no, they usually never laugh at me. Then yeah, then these from the march where there's all the Israel, whatever pro-Israel people, those ones hit some glitch in the algorithm or whatever. So from there, and then one of the videos went to TikTok and went viral. So then, like around January, I had made a TikTok. But yeah, basically, a couple of the videos took off, and then like I do this, people have sent me videos. Like I've been doing this my whole life, not as a but like going by
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah. No, it's the
by a
and well,
farmer's
honestly, like,
market.
as a viewer, for me, when I started, like, tuning into your videos, one, they made me laugh, it was hysterical. I'm like, he's just going up to random people, it's like and then your accent and your it's funny. And then you're witty, like, your comebacks are quick, and they're intelligent, like, they're smart comebacks. And then I just kinda was like, "I have to keep watching this all the time." But, something interesting on TikTok? Every time I would follow you, I would see I was unfollowed. Like it would be like I'm not gonna have to follow you again. I'm like, what is happening here?
No, everybody thinks they got unfollowed. They just keep deleting the accounts. Like I had 12 different TikToks deleted. So everybody's always like, I
Oh,
swear I was following you.
yeah.
What
I was like, I
happened?
swear I'm following this page, and I'm like, why does it keep like unfollowing me? So I was follow again. But then I started seeing like different now. Like one is in New York. I think I thought you were the one in California, honestly. But I guess I don't
I
know
do
who.
know it because I spend some time in
Okay.
California for family and other reasons. So yeah, I started the California videos, but now there's somebody else who's who's lives out there who Dr. Pressure, shout out Dr. Pressure.
Well, now when you're in California, like I've seen a few of your videos where you actually identify IDF soldiers. So how do you go about doing that? Like, how do you actually know that they've been in IDF and they've served and to come back from Gaza?
So a couple of the big ones have been Dr. Pressure, where the guy, so those ones, I don't think he knew. Like Camel Boy, for example, he always asks people, did you serve? Did you serve? And sometimes people will
Wow.
say yes. And so it's not that we know, it's more so we could tell, I could spot an Israeli, I could tell you down to the glasses. Basically, some douchebag, arrogant. It's like a Lebanese douchebag, but like a
Lebanese.
different version. I love Lebanese. My point is
I know,
from
I
an
know, I
aesthetic,
get
if
it.
you're trying to, and it's like Beverly Hills. So my point is you don't know. And like sometimes people will actually wear like a dog tag or they'll wear a IDF shirt. You don't know. You don't know if they're IDF,
Oh,
but at
got it.
least that.
Okay.
But no, usually it's just, I always say then sometimes like I just go free Palestine, free, not at anybody in
That is
particular.
just hysterical.
And somebody will give you a dirty look. So it's almost like fishing. It's like, I'm just saying free Palestine. So if somebody goes like that, then it's like, hey, what's up, bro? And then and as we know, every Israeli has to serve in the military. So it's not
Yeah.
like, if you're a young Israeli male, you're probably diaper forces. And then if not, you can clarify. And we're happy to say, we are sorry this guy is not in the diaper forces. But yeah,
Yeah,
we don't have
but
a
the whole thing, like,
secret.
walking, like, the strip and you see people having dinner, and then you're, like, just kind of interrupting their dinner, and what I think for me, what I love about the PNN network now is you clearly fill the gap because the media has never really covered us fairly. They've never covered our people. We've always been look either women are super oppressed, the men are, violent terrorists, because that's pretty much what we're portrayed as, is either this. We're submissive, we don't have a voice, we have no say. When I'm like, "Really? Have you seen our people? Have you been around our people?" Because I could tell you my household, I was raised around a lot of strong women. You
I
know,
always say the Western feminists, they have this, they look at the Muslim woman and
like,
African,
"You're
whatever, like
haram,"
they,
and
yeah, I'm saying these women would literally eat you alive. They would take you by one hand and like, it's like, so they think, like you say, the Arab woman, they have a backbone and, the whole world, every society has things they need to work out. But, and I always say this, they have these ideas, honor killing.
yeah,
America's
yeah,
the head of killings and stuff. They say when a woman gets killed, it's like 90% her significant other or her ex or whatever. That's an honor killing. So I say the US is the leading nation of honor killings. Women get murdered every day by a jealous ex or a,
yeah,
I get maybe it takes a different slight, but and then I tell these people, Pakistan had they're not Arab, but they're Muslim and
yeah.
Americans, but Pakistanis like this. They had a woman president 50 years ago. So America, they do this thing where they, look down on people when really they're the back.
No.
America's misogynist. America's hateful towards women, but yeah. Anyway, it's all
Yeah, they are, absolutely. Well, you know what's interesting about
propaganda.
America, I'm not sure if the stat is still true, but it used to be true that the day of Super Bowl is the day that where most women, will call the police for domestic violence issues in the US.
I'm sure it's
Yeah, it's a high
the honor
number.
to,
Mhm.
yeah, but the Americans are the savages, but that's why we have to. I mean, it's human nature. What you don't know, it's
Well, I
you
think it's these
can.
people who are in power, it just like they're all connected worldwide and they have one mission is to have complete control. And that's what I think where things are becoming more and more restrictive because even the whole social, like, I love social media. Obviously, I use it, but it's also scary where it's going. And the fact that they're going to have, I mean, they already have all our data and
See, I predicted this in '06 when I
yeah,
used to go crazy saying F Israel, F this, like, because back then people acted like they weren't on social media. I used to say, this is too good to be true. They're going to clamp down on this. And I mean, I'm
yeah,
sure
and now
many
they
people
aren't.
predicted it, but yeah, now they're putting the squeeze on, but they're caught in here's their conundrum, in my opinion. They need the clicks and the views
To keep it
and that.
going.
Yeah, and the algorithm, and at the end of the day, the people will go, whether it's food, sex, politics, they're gonna go for the real. So they're if you fake but so they suppress stuff and everything, but they're caught in a bit of a conundrum where
Yeah.
the people's will kind of overrides it. But no, it's definitely
Well, it's,
scary.
it's, not, it's not even working. Like now on TikTok, when let's say CBS News comes up, I'm just going in. I say not interested because I'm like, no, I don't
No,
care.
CBS on Twitter, their posts get like 37 likes. I say everybody can feel happy. We're all CBS now. Like everybody
Yeah,
has
yeah.
points of
But that's the
CBS.
thing. It's like they come in, they want to like they're buying. I mean, clearly they have a lot of money, right? They're buying TikTok, they're buying all these things. But in the end, I don't think you're going to win this. Like it's too, we are
Yeah,
too powerful now, and now the entire world knows about Palestine. Like because we've known for years what they've been doing back home. Like we've always known, right? But the world never really knew.
yeah.
And even when people spoke out about it back in the days before October 7th, they would look at them like, oh, okay, they're a little crazy, like not don't say anything. But now people are just upset. I mean, even I have white friends who are like, what the heck is happening? Where one of my white friends, whose mom was for Israel at one point, actually donated to a Palestinian cause.
No, it's gone. It's gone
Yeah, so it's
mainstream.
strange.
There's been a major shift. They did so much propaganda. Now it's backfired on them, and now everything just it's like the CBS. They spent all this money, and I don't know if you're on Twitter. It's backfiring every time. Bari
No, I don't.
Weiss
I'm not on Twitter. I have it.
anytime she does anything, she breaks the internet for the wrong reasons. So it's like I think they're digging their own graves. But yeah,
Well,
we'll
I
see.
think ultimately and I think this is what lesson I feel 2025 taught everyone is to live life authentically. When you're living life inauthentically, eventually you can't keep up because there are too many factors involved. We have to keep lying about every little thing, right? Whereas you live your truth, then it'll be easy. But they
That's
keep
what I
trying to make the wrong right and the right wrong.
that's what I say. Since October 7th, there's been a shift. The authentic people have risen,
Hmm.
and the fakes have fallen. Not it's just the people's attention has shifted. So I agree. Hopefully, we keep the.
Well, aside from like PNN News, like I know, by the way, you go to Washington D.C., like you're talking to congressmen, you're following them. What is that experience like? Like, how did did you start California first, or did you start there first and then go to California first,
So
second?
my first couple videos were in DC, like I
Uh,
said, but then I actually had to go out to California for some family stuff right when they started going viral. So then I was like, well, I guess I need to do stuff out here. DC, it's like my home territory. So I didn't really know LA. It's funny though. I was way outside of LA. I said, let me just type in Beverly Hills because that's just something I know. I had no idea I knew it was nice, but the GPS takes me to Beverly Hills Park and it's all Israeli flags. So it was
mhm.
almost like, I was but yeah, then those went viral. But as far as the Congress, I see Code Pink, these different people.
Yeah, they're there almost every day. Yeah.
Yeah. So growing up, like I said, I've gone a couple times, they protest hearings actually with Code Pink, different people. But I basically was kind of annoyed, to be honest, with the Code Pink style because I love Code Pink.
Yeah.
It's like they're asking these people. It's like, but what about the kids? Like they don't care about the kids.
They
Stop.
clearly
Like,
don't. Yeah, you don't have to
yeah,
ask
it's
them. They
like
clearly don't care
stop
about the kids.
asking like they care. So that was. But
Yeah.
and I tell people, I went to DC public school, so DC public schools was kind of rowdy. So we would just hang out in the halls, walk the halls. So I say the Congress office buildings reminds me. It's like DC public schools. You
Mhm.
just hang out in the halls and like mess with people. So it's kind of for me, being from DC, I feel, and we grew up going to the Smithsonian, so it's like if you're from New York, you probably feel comfortable in Manhattan or whatever. So it's
Yeah, yeah.
kind of it's but yeah, now at this point, I actually don't go as much as people think. Like I've only been, if you add them all up, probably less than 10 times. And when I go, I just make like 50 videos. But
Got it, yeah.
so,
Well, I like the
so
video that you made where you actually had someone from Gaza on the phone to, like, face them.
yeah, yeah,
That was awesome.
that one. Yeah, no, I need to
Yeah.
maybe expand that one. People like that one. But yeah, no, it's I tell people go down, if they thrive in silence and darkness. So it's the more people, I mean, nowadays
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
turned into a bit, of a circus. Even on the other side, people are doing it. So maybe they'll
Oh,
shut
yeah,
it
they are,
down.
yeah, 'cause, usually when you're recording them, they're recording you, but I never actually see, like, the other point
Oh
of
no,
view.
no, not even like that. There's
Oh,
people like PNN, like they just had. I don't know if you've seen Jasmine Crockett, but there's some white guy
no.
like you're trying to ghettoify the Senate, and it goes viral. So basically, more people are going down and kind of doing their
Well,
thing. You could say.
aside from PNN, what other news network do you listen? Like, I listen to Candace Owens a lot.
I've been tuned in a lot to the woke right, but I mean, I have my fundamental issues even with Candace, and I enjoy Candace a lot.
Yeah.
My issue with Candace, and I call this out, although she will offend everybody, but she will never offend white people. She will never offend white people. But I'll leave that for another day. But no, like Nick Fuentes, I watch Nick Fuentes, even though I've been beefing with him on Twitter, not him directly, but I'll say something and his followers will come. But no, I'm an internet
Yeah, yeah.
I
Like
like
Piers
real. I want to be.
Morgan, I mean, he was just Nick Fuentes was on Piers Morgan. I feel like it didn't I don't think it landed well, so I didn't watch the whole thing,
Yeah,
but
oh no, I didn't watch the whole thing, but yeah, he didn't. Yeah, I don't think he did well because anyway, I could go on a whole
right.
analysis of that. But I like just alternative media. I like watching real like Arabi stuff. Like I watch these. I mean, there's a guy Nasser Kundil. If people know, he's a Lebanese former politician. He's a great analyst, but just different.
Well, I don't know him. Okay, that's good. I should
But he's like real, like, oh, it's like reminds me of my uncles or something, old school, just
yeah.
but yeah, but I like then I follow everybody on social media, I'm big on anybody, if I see one video of you doing I'll follow. So it's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't like the more like I love Code Pink and I actually do like Code Pink anyway, but the more mainstream stuff, I like the people who are getting active. Code Pink gets active. Shout out to Code Pink. I'm sorry guys. Let me
Okay. No, that listen, I love these when I tune into them too because it is brave and it's difficult. Like I know for you it may be easy to go up to people and ask these questions and like have a quick comeback, but for most people they'll be intimidated to do such a thing. You know,
no,
like I'm scared. What are they going to say to me?
no,
And then
it's
you clearly like I guess the laws and where if somebody says they're going to get arrested or like what is it? You're standing in public because sometimes I think sometimes people do tell you like the cops come to you or so right.
they always come like yesterday.
Like, essentially, you know the rules. So someone
Yeah,
like
and the
me, I wouldn't
police
know the
know it too.
rules.
Yeah, they get, they're basically like Karens, and the police are used to it. They get called so yeah, no, exactly. I know the rule. Shout out to Beverly Hills. That the first no, like you say, you get nervous. One time they called the police, and so I was just like, let me leave the park. So I'm leaving the park. Then the police pull up right as I'm leaving. I'm like, oh, I'm obviously not gonna like run from the police.
Right.
I was kind of concerned, but then the lady was super nice, and she's like, well, as long as you're not threatening people or so, she's like, you're good to go. So ever since then, I was like, I'm good to go. But yeah,
No.
it's simple. You just can't, basically you can, if you're in a public place, just don't threaten people. And I say this, think of the guy with the bullhorn, like Jesus, gee, if he can
Yeah.
do, you can stand and say Palestine, we can all, but that's about it. Like, but yeah,
That makes
if you're
sense.
in suburban, I prefer to stay in, DC, LA. I don't know if you're in a smaller jurisdiction, maybe the police will, be different. But as far as big cities, yeah, they'll let you do your.
And overall, aside from people online, the people you personally know, like the community, have they been receptive to it in a positive way?
I always say I don't have like I lost my Instagram. I don't have anybody. I mean, I'm still know everybody, but no, I don't have anybody. I tell everybody this. all your Instagram followers, you need to just, start a new life because no, there's not a single person from I grew up with. They don't even comment, but not my point is they know me. I'm kind of they don't even want to bark up that tree. But no, it's all new people. It's like I said, I go to LA, I've met so many great
Yeah.
friends, Mexicans. The people from DC are a bunch of bums, I hate to say it.
So you're
Shout
not
out
friends with so you're not friends with anyone you went to
no,
school
I'm for here's the thing. I'm friends with it. My point is, let's say this. We all have our Instagram, right? I had my 400, 500 people in real
Yeah, yeah,
life.
yeah.
They're not, this is the life lesson. It's like my Instagram's got deleted. There's like three, four people that are still there page to page. Every page is like I'm on my 10th Instagram. It takes on a new life. But because people, and this is natural, I've made music, different stuff. They say, why don't my people support me? And it's not their fault. They're not going to support you. It's like you have to somehow, but it's a
Find your
chicken or,
community, like, go out there and find your community.
yeah, and it's a chicken or egg thing. So it's easier said
Yeah.
than done. But yeah, it's never going to be the people around you and stuff, but no, not that I like am not friends with people. But like I said, I've been doing this for a while. I've been saying F white people, F Israel, more messing with people. I love white people. I love everybody. But my point is I've already driven off a lot of the,
No, so you wanna trigger them by saying that and see how they
yeah.
react.
For
Okay.
example, if anybody today goes on their Instagram and says F white people, they're going to get even, don't say that. What's wrong? What's going on? Nor have you gone crazy? So my point is I've been doing that for so long that
No.
I've kind of carved a space to be crazy. So the people from DC just kind of, they probably are, here's what they're thinking. Cause I've been doing this for so long. It's like, wait, now all of a sudden, it's like, imagine
And
somebody do, yeah,
sorry. How do your family, like, how does your mom and dad feel about this? Like, what's their take?
they, my parents are kind of older. I say it's almost like if they hear rap music, they don't really know what's going on. My dad has the conservative thing. I mean, when he sees the videos, which I'll show him every now and then, he'll crack up because, like you say, it's kind of funny stuff. But they get some blowback sometimes. So he's not that concerned. That's not like,
Yeah.
people calling harassment, whatever the case may be. He just has the classic old Arab conservative kind of like,
Don't say anything.
yeah, it's like, why don't you just give money or something to Jewish Voice for Peace and keep it moving, But no, like it's basically they also, like I said, they know there's no point to bark up that tree. But no, it's not like they're against it or for it. It's more like they kind of
Yeah.
don't even know what's going on. I'll put it like that. My dad, he watches CNN, I mean, like he'll watch Al Jazeera, he'll watch it. But my point is he's stuck in
Well, I think that
his world.
that's something in the Arab culture. We've always been raised to not speak up. Like, it's always like, "Aib, just take it in." Even if something happened to you or someone harmed you in a way, you're just like, "Aib, don't say anything."
That's what I tell him. I say,
It's just like,
you're a Palestinian. I'm an American. And that messes with him because he's like, the Arab Americans, they love America. So I tell him, you're not an American. I'm an American. But yeah, no, exactly. But to be
yeah.
fair, yeah, I always say this, the PLO used to be like ISIS and we had family in the PLO. So it's like, if you're raised to just be like, yeah,
Yeah.
keep everything fly. And that's him naturally anyway. Most Arabs in America are very straight edge,
Well, there was like,
conservative.
like my mom was like, "Hey, ما تفضحينا or تفضحي حالك and don't say this about yourself." It's just everything is just keep it hush hush. So it's just
Yeah, no, it's
like
the Arab.
I get it to an extent, Like, let's say if you're, I don't know, planning something, you want to have all your ducks in a row before you actually start telling people. Like, I get that aspect of it. But if so and so harmed you in a way, I don't think you should be telling like a victim to keep quiet. And this could be a whole nother topic. I could tell you off camera, like what what I'm referring to. But certain things that happen overseas, they just don't want to say it. And there is like that, separating from what's happening now. But there is the problems within our own culture that we have to fix because of
Oh,
constant don't say anything, and that khaliki, quiet.
it's a fine line. Sometimes you shouldn't say stuff, but yeah, at a certain point, you got to address certain things, So, but no, and I also say everybody's in a different position, so it's like a generational thing. The younger generation that grew up here feels more entitled to speak. Their generation. So everybody's in their unique
No.
position.
And this could also be one of the, like, amazing things about being in America, because we are raised like you have freedom of speech. You can speak your mind without, anybody harming you or getting in the way. And I think maybe perhaps that culture aspect comes in because maybe back home it's all dictators telling you what you should think.
But I tell the Americans, I say, I believed what was taught. Like, I
Yeah.
thought this is freedom of speech. Like you say, they come knowing it's the world is it. But and to be fair, like I say, if you're an American with an American accent, but if you come from China or the Middle East, you might not have the. But yeah, no, a lot of it is in their heads, like you say, of bringing the old
But
mentality.
now going back to you when you were growing up, did you ever feel like you were not fully from here and not fully from there? Because that's how I guess when I speak to most Arabs, that's how we typically feel. We're not Arab, we're not American enough, and we're not Arab enough. So we're somewhere kind of in the middle.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, not like it was at the front of my mind, but yeah, you kind of, like I say, at a certain point, you start realizing it's like you say, people like they don't understand your perspective, kind of
Yeah.
thing. So that you start to gravitate towards the smaller group of people who do. And then, wait, what was the second part of the question? I'm sorry.
That if you like felt you're from not fully American and
Oh
not
yeah,
fully
or
Arab,
the
and
yeah, and then it's funny though, because me, it's like I say, I actually grew up like it's like thinking I'm like white American, like and that grow like now maybe I
yeah,
have a beard. Growing up, I was like not that but I was like blonde, I look my Arab family called me Hans Deutsch or my uncle, Hans Deutsch. So I was always with that. It's like you're not people didn't look at me as Arab, maybe people who knew me understood my dad was Palestinian, but even that, my dad, they're thinking of Arab is like Osama bin Laden or something, my
yeah,
dad looks like. So my point is it's actually the Palestinians who treat you as like a Palestinian, obviously, you know, but my point is it's like Ramzi Abdel, yeah, it's like they treat you as family. So it's like going to the Middle East actually reinstilled like, no, actually I am Arabic, like
wow.
but no, they're definitely obviously though I'm
Well,
outsider, but yeah.
you mentioned you went to Palestine when you were 19. What was that experience like? This was your first time there, right?
Yeah, so I went for my cousin's wedding
Mhm.
and we're from Bethlehem, which is next to Quds. So but there's a wall. So the wedding was in Al Quds, but the night before they still hadn't gotten permits because everybody has to get permits. I mean, I have American citizenship, so I didn't need it. But basically the night before they got word that everybody's permit had got denied, like 40, 50 people. The only ones was the bride, her groom, her parents,
Oh, wow.
and her sibling, not even all her siblings, her male siblings that were like whatever, 18, 19. So I remember the night before it was like a big,
Yeah.
whatever, people arguing, deciding what to do. But the next day, everybody just got on the bus and the soldier got on the bus for a second, but everybody's in wedding attire, so I guess he just waved it through, kind of thing, and didn't
Yeah.
make it a big check everybody's ID. But there was that, and then I mean, it was just family wedding, Zay Beirut, Zay Surya, yani, party riding in the streets, beeping, and I was like, for me, it's great. I go, I see family, I eat good. I mean, obviously, you
I mean,
see, like, it's
the food over there is amazing. I always just say, like, when we go to Syria, I'm like, I don't say this because 'cause I'm Syrian, but the food is, like, delicious. Like,
no,
you
it's a
just
bit.
there's something in it, like, you just feel it's natural.
No,
Well,
I would say the woman would be cooking from like 7, 8, 9. Then it would be like around noon, lunch. Everybody comes to the table. It's like,
yeah.
here we
Well,
go.
I'm from Halab, so we're known to be foodies. Like, that's all we talk about is food all day. Like, while we're eating dinner, we're planning, like, our breakfast. While we're having our breakfast, we're planning our dinner. So we're definitely food is, very much a part of the, upbringing of being an Arab for sure.
No, it's next level. The spices and the touches, the lemonade, the mint.
Yeah.
They don't do it like that in America for sure. But
But
it was a good trip.
one
Oh
thing I
yeah, and
will
then actually going in. I'm sorry, at
no, no, don't be scared, don't go
Allenby.
ahead.
So we were crossing from Allenby from Jordan. We had actually been
Mhm.
in Lebanon. I forget where. Anyways, we had a group of us. So my one cousin had a Jewish friend though. So and her name's Jewish. So first, so we sent her Jewish friend went up to the window first. She got in. Then my cousin went up, and they were a little confused. And then they were like, "You Muslim or Christian?" She was like, "Christian." They were like, "Okay," and she got in. So we're like, all right,
Oh, wow, okay.
I'm getting in. But then the next person went up, and I guess they realized what was going on. So then they called them back. And then we were there for like 8 hours. And they were, at one point, they put a red stamp in basically, they were asking us all these questions about Lebanon. And then my sister doesn't really know much, but my cousin knows more. Anyway, so they're like, "Do you have family in Lebanon?" And my sister said yes, and she said no, something like that. And they thought anyway, they put a red stamp. They're like, "You will never come to our country ever." Like,
Oh my
but it's in
god.
front. There's people waiting there all day, so it's like in front of everybody. Anyways, after hours and hours, we all got in, but it was funny because then we're in Bethlehem, we're like at the Church of Nativity, and we like see the people who are in line an
Mhm.
hour be there like, "Oh, you guys made it in," like, anyway, so it was kind of funny. But yeah, other than that, it was just a family trip, you could say.
That's awesome. But one thing I found interesting is that I think you're like the first Arab I met who like just identifies straight up like I'm American. Because even though
I,
I know
I,
like you get what I'm saying? Like I know I always say I'm Arab American, but I'm like really from Syria. Like my heart has always been back home, if that makes any sense.
I, I don't identify as American. I mean, I do in the sense of like I'm American. I'm born
Right,
here.
right.
It is what it is. But I always tell people I'm above nation. I see no Ruhi Palestino. It's like my
Yeah,
heart,
yeah,
heart.
yeah. Like the
But I
heart is
put
always
humanity.
back there, yeah.
I don't believe in national. It's like I say this: when you're a kid, you can root for a sports team, like the Yankees. Yay!
No.
As you get older, you can still love sports, but you realize the business. You're a bit childish if you're still like the Yankees. Yeah. So I see the same for countries. If you're a grown adult like America, I tell this to the American people. If you love America so much, I love America more. I've been to more places. I've hiked more trails. It's like I've enjoyed America. I love America more than you, but you got America. And then I tell this, people say, "Do you love America?" My answer is, define America. So it's like if we all love nature and good food, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
if America is the mentality that we're the best, and no. So I say American in the sense of it's like Kanye West says. He says you're like a video game character. He's given like black male. You're given like
Yeah,
Syrian.
everyone's given something, yeah.
Yeah, so you kind of have to play your character, but I don't buy into it per se. But
No, I agree with you. I think to some degree I am like that. But I will tell you, starting, I think it was January 15th, I think I'm starting a class where kind of learning more the history of Arab Muslims and Arabs, generally speaking, in this country, because I never really looked at, like, when you learn history, I never really looked at us as being a part of the history, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm just like, oh,
no,
it's like, there was slavery, there were, Mexicans, this was happening, but I never looked as Arab. I feel like we were just taken from Middle East, placed here, and then told to figure it out. But now I'm kind of going on this like quest to kind of learn more about the role of Arab in America and how long we've been here. And that's thanks to Abid because I ended up interviewing her on this podcast. And at one point I was telling her I wanted to start a course, like the history of the Middle East. So people have like an idea of like the Middle East. But she's like, but what about like the history of Arab here? And I was like, you're so right because young children are growing up here, young Arab. And how do we have them know that they are a part of the story? That they're not just like Syrian or Palestinian just thrown here. Because many of them also, like I'm a teacher, many of the students, like many of the Arab students haven't even been back home. Like they don't need, like to them, this is home. So it's like kind of how do we help them figure it out as they're growing up? So I just thought it was interesting kind of perspective. And I'm kind of going on this journey starting 2026 with her to kind of learn more about the history of Arab in this country.
very cool. No, I always say the American history is like Israeli history. It's like George Washington, World War II, slavery. But yeah, they ignore it. Whereas if you go to the rest of the world, the Middle East, they're more, they understand the different. There was Romans and there was this. So yeah, we're very detached. We learn this like Americanized view of history, which, like you say,
Yeah.
erases so much of history. So no, I say I'm going to start Birthright Germany for the white people. I'm going to take the white people to get in touch because that's what white people don't realize. They are also have been given a fake story, and that's why they are
We
kind of
all come from
lost too.
somewhere. Yeah.
They think I'm American, but really they don't know what they've been cut off from their heritage as well. So
Right. Well, I always think like 'cause sometimes like with Americans who can't see like like they don't get what's happening in Israel, because I guess to some aspect, what does that mean for them here? Because we are technically on stolen land. Like we are living, when we say America, we are on Native American land, and we know the violence. The only difference is we read about it, right? We were told about it in a history book. We didn't actually see it. Whereas like in Palestine now, you could pick up the phone and you see a mother crying over her dead children, or children crying over their dead mom or dad. It's like a completely different ballgame. So what does that mean for them if they have to acknowledge that what Israel is doing is wrong?
They see themselves in the Israelis. That's why I always say, because this is, maybe it's changed since October 7th, but I remember in 2014, I was telling people at this meeting, I said, stop condemning Hamas. They were like, Ramsey, relax, just relax. My point is, you're never going to win these people over. They see themselves in Israelis, like, and even now with the switch, the Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, it's not that they have such a heart for Palestinians. It's almost like, well, different people to different degrees, but it's almost like it's like their classic anti-Semitic. It's like, you Jews are messing with America, so we don't like you. It's not necessarily
Because
like
of the
Nick
power.
Fuentes, this whole beef. Yeah, it's not necessarily Palestine. It's that Jewish people have incredible power here that white people should be having, and they're like tricking people that they're white people. Anyhow, but
Yeah.
I don't do it.
Well, I think it's also another question. It's just like this whole the Zionism versus Judaism, because I think Judaism is a beautiful religion. It's not like this isn't really their religion. It's people telling them what their religion is. But I also think to some aspect, all religions have been infiltrated and they need it to be confusing, and they throw all this chaotic information, and there's actually a lot of information that you don't know what actually is true. And by the time you're like going down each rabbit hole, you get so exhausted that you don't have time for this. So if that makes any kind of sense at all, because I just feel like that's what happens to people. It's like information overload, decision fatigue.
That's a deliberate strategy. What
Right.
Steve Bannon called it, I forget, flooding the space. But yeah, it's like just putting so much out there that like people get overwhelmed and just kind of
Mm.
throw in the towel kind of thing. But
'Cause I remember I had a friend of mine who once when he's an English teacher, and he went on a trip to Israel for some English program. And then he was telling me, he's like, yeah, there was like a cave. And he's like telling me the story. He's like, there's a cave where it's like you walk in and it's a club and everyone's hooking up with everybody. You don't know who you're hooking up with. And then I looked, I'm like, and he saw I made that face. He's like, well, it's just a club, Nora. I'm like, no, but it's not the point. It's the point that this is supposed to be a religious like thing. It's supposed to be for God. And what you're describing has nothing to do with God.
I always say people wear religion like a sports team. They don't. Very few absorb the message and the spirit. It's like, I'm Christian. They
Well,
take
I
it at a
also think
shallow.
people who are in charge don't want you to be religious, because if you're religious, that means there's no pornography, there's no drinking, and then that's like they lose money. I mean, you think about it, everybody has their vice. And I mean, I don't know if the US, even in the Middle East, I mean, even Arab men over there, Middle Eastern countries are known to watch more porn than anything. I think they're like the highest worldwide. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on it. But
Saudi
so that is
Arabia.
the
I don't
problem.
think no, the
So it's
whole
like
world.
whether it's a shopping addiction, whether it's an alcohol addiction, whether it's a pornography addiction, it's easier to have people kind of wasting their time away doing and engaging in these activities, because then it's like you don't have time to worship. And if you do really worship, that means you have to cut all this stuff out.
It's like the algorithm. They push the slop. Yeah, the good stuff gets suppressed. So
Yeah,
we have
it's just
to.
that they want like you operating on the worst level of human beings possible, whoever they are. I don't know. I say the people who are like with the most money in the world, who control everything, who I feel have nothing to do with God. They're not Jews, they're not Muslims, they're not Christians. I think they use religion in vain to fulfill a certain agenda that they have. But there's no way that this is like worshiping God. I think you're worshiping your ego more than worshiping God.
Israel's a business like America.
Yeah.
The religion plays a part, but yeah, the people get lost in the sauce. It's just a
Yeah.
land grab. They want the land. They want the air. They want to build Jewish Disneyland, Western American, European Jewish Disneyland. That's the mission. Everything else.
Anywho, Abu Rass, thank you. We're gonna start with the segment called "Let's Pop," which is
All right.
I throw a couple questions your way, and then you ask them to get to know a little bit about yourself. All right. So, do you prefer coffee or tea?
It's neck neck, but I'll say tea.
Tea. What's your take on Arabic coffee?
I mean, it makes me think of my grandpa, Allah yirhamu Abu Oda. He used to
Allah.
always have the
Yeah.
little Turkish cup. So anytime I I'm not like a connoisseur. I just like coffee. I prefer now in my old age is if I have a little sweet, I like some coffee with it. So I don't really care what Arabic, not Arabic, but just when I smell the Arabic coffee, it always reminds me of him with his little finjan. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he'll be playing backgammon with his finjan, so it always
Aw, and then
gives me that
they flip it upside down, and they tell you your, like, life story.
stuff.
Like,
Yeah,
there's a long line here, so that means you're gonna live a long life, and at one point, you're gonna meet somebody. That's like the way.
yeah. See, I never got that, but yeah, no, he'd always be sipping on it. So it
Aw,
makes me feel
Allah
at
Allah
home.
يرحمه, Allah
I'm
يرحمه.
like, I'm really tired. Thing
Do you prefer silence or having a conversation?
silence.
Okay.
I like to rant and rave, but I like silence. You know, most of the time.
Yeah, makes sense. Shawarma or falafel?
50-50, but I'll say, my indulgent side, shawarma, when I'm trying to be more on my, like you say, higher vibrations, will go falafel vegetarian. But
Well, now with the whole show, the crispy shawarma, I think it went viral. It was in Michigan, I want to say. Like they said, some gas station has like a restaurant that makes this very crispy shawarma. And here, I still haven't seen it, but recently I did come across a video where someone was advertising a restaurant in Patterson that they have the viral crispy shawarma. So I do have to give it a shot.
yeah,
But
no,
usually
I
they just
actually
like
saw
wrap
it.
it. It's like soft and they cut it in the quarters.
Oh, it's the accent. It. I mean, no, like I say, if I just want pure enjoyment, shawarma best. If I'm feeling good, fatouche with some
Oh,
falafel, then
yes, yes.
I feel like Mahmoud Darwish, like I'm more,
That makes sense. That should be like one of the questions. Fattoush or what's the other salad?
tabbouleh.
Tabbouleh. Fattoush or tabbouleh. Yep. All right. What is a red flag in an Arab girl?
See, I'm not. I've never been, big on the dating scene. I could say now, essentially, call me a married man. I would say just red flag in humans, period, is
Okay.
just, I'm very big in my old age. Any small thing, so not necessarily a girl, but if they say something and don't do it,
Okay.
doesn't mean they're a bad person per se, but I tell this, you have to hold people to a high standard. You also have to be that high standard, but you might be very alone for a time, whether that's even friends or romantically, but you have to hold out until you meet someone that matches your level of authenticity, commitment. So that's all that matters is,
Got it.
you
That
know,
makes sense. One message you have to younger Arab men or Arab guys.
in America or,
You
I
could
would
do,
say I'm going to tailor it to America because yeah, it's
yeah,
just
to
don't
our
buy
people growing up
into
here.
it's like, American Arabs, sometimes they fall into the whiteness trap, which all groups fall into, which
Yeah, yeah.
is they kind of think they're white, but so just unpack that stuff. Like you said, learn the real history of the Arab, of America, of natives, so you don't fall into the trap of being a, chauvinist white kind of thinking person, or Arab, whatever you call it, try to be a
No.
humanistic person, be like
Just to
Mahmoud.
get to know your roots and your identity
Exactly.
without the clouded information. One word that describes Palestine to you.
Jannah.
Okay. Love it. One thing people misunderstand about you.
There's people that misunderstand me from different angles, so it's, uh, it's hard to say. Like I say, like the alt right say I'm exploiting Palestine. Some people say I'm making us look bad, but I'm in it, for the right reasons. I don't have all the answers, but it's like,
Yeah.
I
Your
don't
heart is
have.
in the right place.
Yeah, there's no angle with it per se. It just kind of took on a life of its own.
Got it. And one thing that gives you hope right now.
I always have hope. God gives me hope. Nora gives me hope. There's always a silver lining on the cloud. But no, I would say obviously October 7th has been a terrible genocide since then, but it shifted the energy. So it's like the authenticity is on the offensive now, whereas before, like you said, the fakeness kind of was on the offensive. So
Right.
inshallah that new atmosphere continues and bears fruit for us.
Inshallah. And one last question. What is your favorite Kazouza flavor? Because you know Kazouza means soda in Arabic. And if you spent time in Syria, did you hear them say Kazouza?
I probably did, but like I said, I was going when I was a kid. I haven't been to Syria at this point in 20 plus years, but no, I'm sure I did. I've gotten on this thing lately, which I saw on TikTok or something. They say Sprite goes with chicken, red meat, you drink a Coke. So that's kind of my, but and I'm also my German side. They do something called Spezi. They mix Coke with Fanta. So
Oh,
sometimes
interesting. Okay.
they actually like serve it in its own bottles. But
You know,
so
Germany has great chocolate, and I only
yeah,
and I only know that because I was traveling to Egypt once, and I had a layover in Germany airport. It was the airport was beautiful, so clean. It's very nice. I remember I got chocolate. It was delicious.
yeah, they do their chocolates and cakes, and they're big
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today. And I really enjoyed our conversation. Inshallah, whoever this comes across, they benefit from it. And of course, we'll link your information so you can also tell people where to follow you, which I'm sure people already know where to follow you, but you can go ahead and let those who don't know know.
Yeah, I mean, it might be gone soon, but as of now, the Palestine News Network, but work, WERK, not ORK on Instagram.
Okay.
TikTok, honestly, I don't even, it's like some weird name, but just type in TikTok. If you just type in Palestine News Network, the pages come up.
All
But
right. And now, how many pages again you have overall? You have one in New York.
yeah, so as of now, there's one in New York, PNN NYC. There's Dr. Pressures, PNN LA, but there's also Camel Boy has a PNN page. He's in LA.
Okay.
There's a guy, Rizzy Red in Long Island, but his is more Rizzy Red than it says PNN.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, there's PNN Ireland. There's a guy Zaid out
Oh,
there who's been
wow.
doing
Okay. You're
it.
international now. Okay.
There was PNN Iceland for a while, but he kind of I think got married lately, so he's kind of been more
Interesting. Okay.
low key. But and also yeah, randomly somebody might for Arizona for a little while had sent us. But yeah, as of now, basically DC, LA, New York.
Yeah.
Follow all the pages you find.
You got to find like PNN, like female versions now. They can go up to people.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying that because I don't like to go up to women per se, unless they maybe have an Israeli flag or something like. No, I said that
No, but I mean
that would
someone
be good.
behind the camera, like doing what you're doing, but
That's what
oh,
no,
okay.
I'm saying because I don't want to approach people unless
Oh,
they
got
have.
it, got it. Okay, okay.
I'm saying, yeah, if any woman wants to go do PNN style, please do. We'll share all the videos.
They have to say "Free Palestine" the way you say it, which you should end it on that note.
Free Palestine, free Palestine.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much.